Hello and welcome to my channel Happy Hours. In my last video, I discussed about the Russian revolutions, its causes and its phases, where I discussed about the revolution of 1905, February revolution of 1917 and the October revolution of 1917, which is also known as the Bolshevik revolution. Further, I also discuss about the two great leaders, Lenin and Stalin. In this video, I'm going to discuss about the Cold War, its causes and its phases, where I'm going to discuss about the Cuban Missile Crisis, Indo-Pak War 1962 to 79, and I'm going to discuss about the disintegration of USSR and the reasons behind it. So what are we waiting for? Let's start the discussion with the topic Cold War. Cold War is also known as the war without the weapons. Walter Lippmann and Fleming used the word Cold War for the first time. There are certain functions of Cold War, such as political distrust, psychological warfare, military competition, diplomatic effort, and espionage, which means spying. Now, what are the reasons of Cold War? First is the ideological hatred between the capitalists and the communists. After Bolshevik revolution, the Western countries did not recognize the government of Lenin. Britain established diplomatic relations with Russia only in 1924 after the death of Lenin. And even America established diplomatic relations in 1933 only. There were more regions such as violation of Yalta Summit, violation of Baltic Agreement, and theory of vacuum. I'm going to discuss these three in detail. Next is the violation of Yalta Summit. It was the World War II meeting of heads of the government of United States, the United Kingdom and the Soviet Union to discuss the post-war recognition of Germany and Europe. The conference was held in Yalta, in Crimea. The aim of the conference was to shape a post-war peace that represented not only the collective security order but also a plan to give self-determination to the liberated peoples of Europe. Stalin demanded a Soviet sphere of political influence in Eastern and Central Europe as an essential aspect of the Soviet national security strategy. The status of Poland was discussed. The recognition of Communist Provisional Government of Republic of Poland, which had been installed by the Soviet Union on a broader democratic basis, was agreed to. The Polish eastern border would follow the Curzon line, and Poland would receive territorial compensation in the west from Germany. Stalin pledged to permit free elections in Poland and even committed to participate in United Nations. But USSR did not fulfill the promises about Poland and betrayed the Yalta Summit, due to which the credibility of USSR was very much questioned. Next is the violation of Baltic Agreement. In 1941, Moscow Summit held, in which Latvia, Lithuania and Estonia's foreign ministers met and decided to keep military of Russia in their territory for Germany and Russia war. It was promised that after the war end, their territorial integrity will be restored. But after the war, USSR violated the Moscow Agreement, and due to which the Baltic states became the part of USSR, and it was considered as the communist imperialism. Last is the theory of vacuum. We can understand that Germany was responsible for the politico-military activities, and after the collapse of Germany, there was a vacuum. Therefore, both America and Russia came in military competition to fulfill the gap. Now we have to understand the phases of Cold War. There are many phases like first, second, third, fourth, fifth and sixth phases. Now I am going to discuss about the first phase, which was from 1945 to 1949. First, the nuclear weapons dropped on Japan and USSR opposed it strongly. Second, the issue of Germany. They divided Germany in two parts, like GDR and FRG. GDR is the German Democratic Republic, which was with USSR, and FRG is the Federal Republic of Germany, which was with USA. Third is the 1949 Communist Revolution in China. Mao formed government in China. He was from Communist Party. USA and UK were against it, whereas India and USSR were in support of it. Chinese Democratic leader Chiang Kai-shek ran away to Taiwan. There he formed the Nationalist Government of China. USA and UK gave recognition to Taiwan. They said that the real government of China is Taiwan. Due to this, Cold War was very intense. Next is the second phase of Cold War, 1949 to 53. NATO was established in 1949. The full form of NATO is the North Atlantic Treaty Organization. It was organized in Washington Summit. It was a military alliance of Western European countries against the communist adventure. If any member country is attacked by any third country, they are going to consider it as an attack on NATO. And then all NATO countries will together attack on that country. Third phase was from 1953 to 58. In 1955, Warsaw Pact. Warsaw is the Poland capital, and it is alliance of Eastern European countries. It is known as the Communinform, means Communist Information System. Due to this, Europe was divided into two parts, Western and Eastern part. Fourth phase is 1959 to 62. This was very intense phase. USSR president named Nikita Khrushchev decided to go to America. At that time, USA president was Eisenhower. They decided to end the Cold War, and it was decided after the meeting that they are going to have a meeting at Paris, known as the Paris Epic Summit, for denuclearization. But before that, USA spy plane was caught in Russia, and this is known as U-2 crisis. Due to this incident, Russia became very furious on America, and due to which Paris Epic Summit was failed. Cold War started reviving again. They both decided to build a wall in Germany. Now Germany was divided into two parts by a wall, and this is known as German Wall. Fourth is a very important thing, and that was the Cuban Missile Crisis. There was a communist revolution in Cuba. Cuba is just below America. Russia decided to keep missiles in Cuba, and America got in action. Situation was so tense that it was assured that there will be a nuclear war in between USA and USSR. It was a 13-day confrontation between the governments of the United States and the Soviet Union, when the American deployments of nuclear missiles in Italy and Turkey were matched by Soviet deployments of nuclear missiles in Cuba. The entire globe was on the verge of nuclear war, and taking advantage of that, China invaded over India. The crisis lasted after 13 days with the interference of many countries, and Russia pulled back its decision. Fifth is the phase of 1962 to 79, where Indo-Pak war happened. And there were two wars in 1962 and 1971. Pak got support from America, and India was supported by Russia. Another was war in between Arab and Israel. Arabs got support from USSR, and Israel got support from USA. So Cold War was in between Russia and USA, but it was extended to Asia now. Sixth phase is from 1979 to 1991. America was entering in Central Asia and becoming very close to USSR. So USSR invaded over Afghanistan to keep American army away from border of USSR. Therefore, America immediately approached Pakistan. Large monetary offer was made. America created Taliban, give them religious training, and they started jihad against the Soviet Union. After a long battle, Soviet Union decided to withdraw from Afghanistan. Taliban captured Afghanistan after the withdrawal of Soviet Union and started global terrorism. In 1991, after the disintegration of USSR, Cold War was ended. Now we have to understand the next thing, and that was the disintegration of USSR. In 1991, after 7 decades of communist rule, USSR was disintegration. Now we have to understand what were the factors led to the disintegration of USSR. First was the internation contradiction in society. During the Russian Revolution, middle class played very important role in elimination of Romanov dynasty, means the Tsar dynasty. But Lenin had established dictatorship of labor. However, the expectation of middle class was establishment of democracy. So middle class involved in conspiracy against communist government. Second was the economic pressure. During the Cold War, there were nuclear installation in many parts of the world. Space war and the space competition was also very important pressure on the economy. The communist economy was not able to sustain against capitalist economy. War in Afghanistan had further deteriorated the economic condition of USSR. So we can understand the economic pressure on USSR which led to the disintegration. Third was the contradiction between Russia and other states of USSR. Russia was economically very sound, but the other states of USSR were not producing as much as expected. Therefore, Russia pressurized the central government for economic distribution, and even Russia was playing the power role. Next was the reform of Gorbachev. Gorbachev started glasnost and perestroika, which means the liberalism and openness. Gorbachev permitted Russian students for foreign studies. These students demanded liberal society and the political rights. Due to the reform of the control of government became very weak and there was massive rise in inflation. So finally, in 1991, Soviet Union was declared dissolved and all nuclear weapons and international obligation was transferred to USSR. And with this, the Cold War come to an end. With this, I am reached to the end of the video, and we have understood the Cold War, the reasons, situations, incidents behind it. We have also understood about the disintegration of USSR, which was reason behind the end of the Cold War. By this, I am concluding my video. If you find the content interesting, kindly like, share and subscribe. Thank you.